Greetings. Good to be back with you as we come toward the middle of another week. And this week, three words are words of the week. I bring you greetings from churches in Michigan, Springbrook Church, the Holmes Road Church, both in the center of Michigan, in the Lansing area, also from the Edmond Iglesia de Cristo, the Spanish church at Edmond, Oklahoma, where last Sunday Jan and I were able to be with the church as the English-speaking church celebrated 100 years, 100th anniversary. This week, three words of the week. The word red letter, a hyphenated word you probably recognize. Rubricated, a word you perhaps will not recognize. And the word rubric, a word many have heard, but perhaps fewer could accurately define. 2 weeks from today will be, for me and my life, a red letter day. The day is rubricated on my calendar. My goal is always to make Jesus the rubric of our lives. Let's explain. The Gutenberg Bible is famous for being the first book in Western Europe to be printed on a printing press with metal movable type. Using what was at that time a new practice, a new process, Gutenberg experimented with possibilities during the typesetting and printing of his Bible. And one of his experiments was two-color printing. In hand-lettered books and hand-lettered manuscripts of that day, of Gutenberg's day, it was common for chapter headings, headlines, and important text to be rubricated, which simply means they were lettered in red. The practice was called rubrication, from the Latin rubere, which means red, and the headlines were known as rubrics. Because using red letters for certain sections required that the pages go through the press twice, the process was too time-consuming to be used extensively by Gutenberg. And only certain sections of the texts that we have, a handful of pages that survive in copies of the Gutenberg Bible, provide for us examples of how that process worked. Red lettering came to be used in other places besides the Bible. Calendars were rubricated as important days, feast days, and holidays were easier to see. These days came to be known as you might expect, red letter days. Today, many Bibles are rubricated with the words of Jesus printed in red. The adjective red letter refers to events that are days of special importance. So my computer calendar has both November 23 and November 24 rubricated. November 24 is printed in red because it's Thanksgiving. Those of you who know me a little bit better know also the reason that November 23rd is printed in red on my calendar. Well, our words this week are not technically Bible words, but the background of our words reflects some of the history of the English Bible as we have it today. And we see examples every time we read the red letters of Jesus' sermons or teachings. Application time. Simple questions. What are the red letter days, red letter events in your life? I hope that for many of those days you find the ability to trace a growing relationship with Jesus Christ. Another question. If you were to write the story of your life, what sections would you rubricate? What are the important life-changing passages of your life? And finally, what is the rubric of your life? That is, what's the headline? What's the goal? What's the focus? What are the primary instructions? Words for this life, words to point us to the life to come. As always, written copy available on my website. And if you would like to talk a little bit more about red letters and living a life in which Jesus is our rubric, I encourage you to contact me. Don't hesitate. Would love to visit, study, share together time, thinking about those words that make a difference in our life. Well, it is good to be back with you after a break. Looking forward to seeing you again next week for another Word of the Week. In the meantime, remember that God loves you, I love you. That's the way it's going to be. May we go forth and live out in our lives the reality of Jesus Christ. May we help others find in their lives red letter days. For many people, the day of their baptism is in their life a red letter day, the day that we made a decision to follow Jesus Christ. May God bless us as we live out that reality and as we encourage others toward faith. Until next time, my prayer is always that God will richly bless you.